Today I have a quick tutorial demonstrating sewing a zipper into a cushion boxing, though this method works for any zipper. For this project you'll need a zipper foot for your sewing machine and a fairly heavy-duty needle. I like to use 100 or 110 for the heavier duty fabrics. If you have a pretty lightweight fabric, then a 90 might be okay. This video assumes that you have your basic pieces cut, so we're starting with cutting your zipper boxing in half. Since this particular fabric frays easily, I've serged the edges. And just a quick note about fabric patterns here. With the 3/4 inch seam allowance down the center of the zipper boxing, you'll lose 1.5 inches. So you might want to pay attention to how that affects your pattern matchup. First, you'll use the longest stitch on your sewing machine to baste stitch the two pieces together. For this I recommend a standard weight, contrasting colored thread so that it's easy to see and tear out when it comes time to remove it. Here I'm showing two ways to gauge your seam allowance. One is to mark it with a fabric pencil, and the other is to use a piece of tape on your sewing machine if it doesn't already have marks on it. And finally, notice there's no need to backstitch on either end of this particular seam since you'll just be taking it out. After making sure that your pattern matches the way you want it, and double checking to be sure that your front boxing and your zipper boxing are the same depth, you can go ahead and press your seam open. Now it's time to place and pin your zipper. For this project I'm using a cut-to-size style of zipper, so I'll attach the zipper pull after I've sewn it onto the zipper boxing. First, place your zipper tape face down on the back side of your zipper boxing with the center of your zipper lined up with the center of your basted seam. Pin it in place along the length of the tape, checking to be sure that it's centered as you pin. I like to pin it with the pin heads facing me as I'm sewing so that I can pull them out as I stitch. So I'll end up with the pins going opposite directions on each side of the zipper. Sewing with the zipper foot, your stitch line should be about 1/4 inch away from the center of the zipper. With this machine, I get that 1/4 inch by lining up the outside of the zipper foot with the outside of the zipper tape, but that may vary depending on your machine. Once you start sewing the second side, you may want to turn it over to be sure that your stitch lines are evenly spaced from the center of your zipper. For example, you can see here that the second side is closer to the center of the zipper, and I think I will take that out and adjust my stitch lines so that they're even. One more thing I want to point out here is that stitching on the zipper tape side of your work creates a much neater result because your fabric doesn't have a chance to bunch up under the foot, and there's no chance of it to stretch either, causing a smile in your entire zipper. To remove the basting, I use a nice sharp seam ripper and just run it along the center of the zipper. Then I go back with a pair of tweezers to easily pull out those threads. If you're using the cut-to-size style zipper, you'll need to attach your zipper pull. If you look at your zipper pull, you'll notice that one side is closed and one side is open. You'll insert it open side first onto the zipper. First, you'll set it firmly in place onto the end of the zipper as I'm demonstrating here. Then, once it's securely on the end of the zipper, you pull gently on the two sides until it starts to move. With these zippers, there's a locked position and an unlocked position. The locked position is toward the closed end of the zipper, and the unlocked position is toward the open end.